Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. I have finished the 100 battle challenge on the Panzer VII, and it went. It was going well. It was going well. I actually clawed my way back to 50%. I think I started at about 43% with 40 battles, and got to 50 at about 15, 20 battles out from finishing it, and then had a really tough time towards the end. I'm going to blame everything but myself. How did we end up? Well, unfortunately, at 47%. We had 78% hit rate, actually, which is pretty good, to be honest with you. You're pretty close with this tank quite a bit. Not a lot of sniping, I would say. 38% survived, only 1.14 in damage. That's not great. 1.82 destruction, zero point 0.8 armor. That's approaching super heavy. This is, it wants to be a super heavy pretty badly. It fails in a couple regards, unfortunately, but in general, it is a pretty tough tank. Can take quite a few hits and will bounce pretty well, provided you use it correctly, like a German box tank, with the added complication of the rear-mounted turret going on. 2,500 average damage, 542 assist. I had a 6,240 damage game in there. 888 experience is not where I want to be with my tier 10s. I'd much rather be much closer to 1,000 than that. So it was a bit of a rough go for me. Kind of a slow tank, a little ungainly with the rear turret. It's not that I disliked it. I actually kind of liked playing it. It just didn't work as well as I would have liked. And to be honest, in the last 10 to 15 games, I had some pretty tragic 15 to 1s and things like that. Still, I have those kinds of games in other tanks, and I'm able to manage 50% or even well above 50. This one just didn't work out for me. Had a pretty good crew. They were 4 skills working on their 5th or 3 working on their 4th. I did use only one setup. I had hardening, and this maybe my setup was probably part of the problem. I had hardening, a rammer, and a vert stab, I believe. Although it may have been a turbo. Maybe I needed a vert stab. Very well could be. Probably a better setup might have helped me out. Probably, maybe. Probably, maybe. I was running food. I did have 2 kits on this thing as well. And there you go. That's how I had this set up. So what does it look like stats-wise? I was a little bit surprised, actually, at how well it does. Because whenever I do poorly in a tank, then I have to assume it's a bad tank, right? It's not me. No, it is me. Panzer VII, it's in the top 20, 25, something like that. It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th best tech tree. This is all recent on NA. It did get a buff recently. I don't think it was 2.0, but it might have been. Recently, it did get a buff, and it is definitely better than it was. I will give it that much. In fact, this is a tank, unusual for me after 100 battles, that I am not doing better than the average. I'm doing worse than the average. So there you have it, Panzer VII. It is on the German tech tree line. It is obviously the top tier. There is not a tank above it, so there's no 11 above this, but this is the VK4502, and then it goes rear turreted for the 4502 Bravo and for the Panzer VII. There is a reward version of this for Clan Wars, which is the 7501 or 2 or something like that. And it's considerably better. It's got a better gun, the armor layout's a little bit better, and the big problem with this thing, and it's still an issue, you will know, and I've said this in several videos already that we've done with this tank, you will know if somebody knows what they're doing as you're side scraping if they're hitting you right here. Okay, if they're getting you right there on the casement, the turret thing right here, yeah, that's going to flat plate a bit, and even as thick as it is, when you flat plate it, people are going to start penning it. The front is tough. Even the lower plate's pretty tough. You put any kind of angle on it, it's even tougher. So it side scrapes nicely unless they're smart. And they start taking on that. And there's a small hatch on the top. You will collect shots on there every now and again, but it's not too bad overall. All right, well, that's how I did. That's how I had it set up. That's my crew. Let's take a look at a couple gameplay examples of the Panzer VII Tier 10 Tech Tree German heavy tank. All right, first battle, we're going to give you the bad. This is kind of what it felt like all the time for me. I don't remember what I told you guys I was running with, but I don't think I mentioned vents. So there you go. I had hardening vents and a rammer. Maybe that's not the best choice. Honestly, if I had it to do again, I probably would put a vert stab on that. Sometimes I set these up and I don't really think about it. I didn't set up a second setup on this, so to some extent, you know, you're a victim of your own stupidity. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. We are here on Himmel's Overlord Dorf, the newly renovated Overlord that does not have the beach of morons. It just has a couple pieces of beach. And I kind of thought that when I first saw this, there might be some last stand battles as people were hiding on the beach, but I rarely see that. What do you guys think? Have you seen a lot of people kind of falling back to the beach? It doesn't seem like a great plan because there's so much overwatch from all the cliffs. So really what they've done is essentially turned those two corners of the map into completely useless spots on the map. Now, they were generally useless before, but at least you might have a TD hanging back there that could shoot down the beach. There's zero reason to go there now from what I can tell. There is some capability for flanking a hard defense if you can jump into their little notch and then come back around, but that's real late game stuff. And I don't see this map getting there very often anymore, especially since there's so much space on the other side that even the heavy brawl, while it can be decisive, you can be flanked pretty badly from the other side. So the beach thing is a dead letter, I think, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think? Have you seen a bunch of people down on the beach at all, or anybody on the beach? All right, I'm going to come over here. I see a nice opportunity to thump him. Go ahead and put 525. I way over angled, so of course the E50 has zero trouble hitting me right there. And we're side scraping. There's two artillery. I think in this game, thankfully, the artillery never pays attention to me. It looks like they're busy in the middle, shooting guys in the middle. So this is a relatively slow tank. Not terrible, but relatively slow. Maybe one of the faster super heavies, but not quite a super heavy. If I find this guy, he's not really paying attention. So we'll put a shot on him. We've cranked out 1066. And for the moment, it seems like we're in pretty good shape, but you will notice that we're thin. We just have me, a WT very soft. The ST1's nearly dead. A TT130 and a T30. So where's the rest of our beef? The Kron's in the middle. The 103 is in the middle. A couple Leopards way over on the east side. The JPZ hit is sitting in the back, and theirs is forward, being a problem. And that's about it. There's another WT way back there, and I don't know if that 430 is AFK, probably. So we're down at 430. Every game, it just felt like this tank ran into these teams all the time. That was kind of lucky, but we were able to get it down low enough into the side of the hole, and we take the Kron out. So the gun will snap on occasion. Does okay. Notice they're just really stacked up down here. They really have sent all their power. Look at that just stack of tanks. And again, it's just us. The ST just died, so now there's 3. Looks like the Kron is at least sort of flexing back over here. And there's not a whole lot going on over in the east right now. What are we missing from them? We're not really missing anything. We're missing one of their WTs and an FV. We know where their mediums and everything else is. So even their medium E50 came down here. Oh shoot. All right, great. So we blocked that one. More luck than anything. We put a shot on it. And here comes the JPZ. I mean, they're starting to sense victory over here. Basically, they've done a lot of poking and prodding, and they're pretty well aware that it's just us 3 with maybe some supporting cast members over there, but there's so many of the enemy that we're going to be in big trouble right here. Looks like a 2 or 3 marked JPZ. Trying to figure out a way here to get a nice shot on him. Maybe I can side scrape, but I know a guy with that many marks on his JPZ knows exactly where to shoot this tank, so I'm trying to avoid getting shot by him. And, oh, unfortunately I do not, and that hurt. And I'm not fast enough now. They broke my engine to get in here. And we're able to sneak a shot again. All right, there's that angling I was talking about. Better lucky than good, but that front end will bounce pretty well if you can get them to shoot it and not into the front wheel right there. So that worked out for me. We'll fix the engine, but I'm still stunned, unfortunately. And I'm trying to look right now for an opportunity to shut down the JPZ, but you can see pretty quickly over here, guys, this game's getting away from me fairly quickly. So I'm up front, brawling with the tier 10, with the top tier guys, doing my best to do damage. I got 2,500, not absolutely amazing, but decent amount of damage. F-35 going by right there. You can tell by how bloody loud it is. And team's just disappearing, guys. The 4005's dead. Don't even know how he died. The JPZ died way in the back. That's... What? But yeah. Huh? So he's dead. It just felt like this, especially for the last 15 to 20 battles. All right, I know I can get one shot in his side. That's fine. Bam, hit by the 1000. 6, don't kill me, JPZ. Nope, too late. 3000 damage. There goes the wingman. Probably on the instrument approach. Yeah. Pretty much every time. It just really felt like this. You'd get this thing into the front and do your brawl, and then the team would disintegrate around you, and this enemy team just really was aggressive. They were all together. And there's not a lot you can do about games like that, guys. There really isn't. All right, I'll show you one where I did a little bit better. At least we won in any event. Full disclosure on that last one, I'm not really comfortable on that map yet. And maybe you guys got some advice. I like going wide in the brawl down there. It seems to give me more angles to work with. A little bit easier to time pop-outs and things like that. But if there's a better plan, let me know. That's kind of what I've gone to right now. I'm testing that out, seeing if that works out for me. Generally it does, but there you go. All right, so we are now on Himmel's Fisherman's Bay Dorf. And my plan on this one, I think this was exactly one game after the one before. And I went, all right, well, I know on this map I really can't get very far forward. I'm going to go to where the brawl is because I'm a top tier heavy, or we're all same tier. It's all tier 10, but I'm a heavy, right? I'm one of the big bads, theoretically, in this game. So I need to get up close enough to brawl, but on this map, you really can't get right up in their face. Everyone's going to go to their part of the village, and they're going to start doing side scraping and pixel sniping and peekaboom and all that kind of stuff. So that's the plan. So at least in this case, I am able to have a plan that doesn't get me overextended, theoretically. Now I come over here looking for a shot, and this is a dangerous spot. It's really irritating on these maps like this, where you can't even get anywhere without being spotted and slapped in the side. And that's what's going to happen here. I get spotted, and I get absolutely hammered by the concept, who has a recent alpha buff and then high rolls me to a 541. Holy crap. That is awesome. But I come up to this building, which is kind of one of the places I really like to play right here on this particular map. You can get their dudes for side scraping. There's actually a sliver, if guys are further back, that you can get shots on. They'll also sit there trying to shoot through that sliver at you. So we're going to hang out here. There is an artillery. I want to go dark and go side scraping. So what I don't want to do is get lit, get hit, pull in there and pull right back out and get sniped by one of their guys who is already in position over there. So we'll just sort of see if we can bait somebody. Same disclosure, or same thing about getting shot in the side on that rounded part. If somebody's smart enough to start doing that, you need to rethink whether you're going to continue to side scrape out at that position. You may have to go somewhere else. What's funny is another jet just went by, much quieter. So either a 16 or even a 15 probably. 35s are just so bloody loud. All right. And you know, here we are. We're sitting here, and when I felt like maybe I was doing a little better with this tank, it was more gameplay like this, which for me is boring. It really is. And it sounds like an excuse. Oh, I lose and I do poorly, so that's why, because I get bored and I play more aggressive. You know, fair enough, but that's more or less what it is, to be honest with you. Apparently I started my video during a recovery. I was hoping that Dravek would push by, but he doesn't. So their JPZ has gone wide. Great, at least he's not sitting here staring at me. There's a Type 5 back in there somewhere. That's problematic for this tank. The pen on this thing, I don't think we went through that earlier, but it is 280 to 325. That's the range because it's APCR. And you know, at that low range, that's really not enough for some of the heavily armed tier 10. So on occasion, you're going to find yourself struggling with this thing to pen. Like even E100 faceplates on the turret and Mal's faceplates, it's going to have a hard time. So you will want to try to work on weak spots with this tank. And while that is a good idea for every tank, this one kind of requires it quite a bit because the pen just isn't overpowering on it. AWZ, old Rambo's brother, heads on in there. He loses some hit points crossing, but at least he sort of pushes his position forward there. That gives us a few more options. Took a quick peek back. I'm thinking, hey, can I get shots on these guys when they show up? Sometimes you can't. There we go. Ah, dang it. Just about. So they got a VZ in there, a Dravik, a Type 5, the JPZ. There's some mediums and another heavy up in the middle. You can see that another Dravik of ours and the Manicore are pushing into their corner. That can be useful if the FV brigade back there is getting shots. We shut him down. Kind of a lucky shot, but I'll take it. And we're up 3. So, what? We've been at this thing for 4 minutes, and I've gone to one spot, and I'm kind of hanging out here. There's no way for me to push. Our JPZ has lost a bunch of hit points. We really don't have that much here, fellas. Honestly, they sort of outnumber us down here. They certainly out-hit point us at this point with our JPZ down to 500. I've taken a hit. Rambo's about half hit points. There's a Leopard way back here. We got an IS-7 over... What on earth is he? Didn't even know that was a position. Is he on the other side of the rocks? Okay. I don't know that position. I don't know if I've ever seen that position. This is what I'm talking about, this little sliver right here, and I think this might be the head. Yeah, I mean, come on, just dispersion. Another thing I find with tanks like this, the long reload in the big alpha. We talked about this in the past, but if you shoot 3, 4, 5 times and miss and don't do any damage, you only get so many shots in the game, just based on the game's only 15 minutes long. And with the long reload, if you miss or bounce or don't pin, that really hurts. So if you're getting shots like that one, which you might go, yeah, that's lucky in the case of dispersion, that's very helpful for your team. That's 500 points right there that I just knocked off that tank. And you only have so many shots to take points off of tanks. I mean, what do you usually see? 10 to 20 shots, depending on how long the game goes. That's a pretty common amount of shots. Even if you consider faster reloads, still 15 to 20 is a pretty good amount of shots for just about any tier, minus autocannons and some of the smaller tiers where sometimes you get them 30 and 40 shot games. All right, I'm going to start moving forward because we built an advantage. I like right now that we're 6 to 2. We just won down there in the southwest. You can see that the Manicore is pushing in. So now we have some very good map control. And they're starting to get vision control out of that map control based on the Manicore, provided he doesn't die. So we have a lot of shots into their backfield based on the Dravik and the 2 FVs, and we also own the top. So this is now the time for us down here in the city to start moving forward a bit. Not YOLO, not push into them, because they got a lot of hit points, they got a lot of firepower. So if all these guys in here, me, the IS-7, the WZ, and that's it now. If we just YOLO'd in and died, well, that's 3 dead guys. That's going to start to even things up, and it really clears out the city for them. So that's not what we want to do. But we do need to start moving forward. That was a good kill, by the way, by the Artie. Killing off the concept, because he's a vision control guy. Very mobile. We can start giving these guys hell. So we know where the 13105 is. I see that he's out in the middle of the field. I'm pretty sure he's going to die. I'm hoping he does anyway. If he doesn't, at least I know where he ran off to. And he's not going to do any spotting on me. I also like that the EBR came in here and got the Dravik kind of riled up. And I know I'm going to take a hit in the side, but I don't care because I'm going to come in here and put the thump on this thing. There we go. So we'll cross, spin to put the front of the tank here. And then we're going to be an idiot, I think, and bounce. When he gets another shot because he reloads pretty quickly. There we go. All right, that's a different game I was thinking about. Going to the corner, but unfortunately I eat a VZ shot right there as I'm trying to spin my giant hole around. And we're up to 1800. Side scrape. You gotta love it. That's the first thing I bounced, by the way. Alright, now the collapse is well and truly on. You can see we're all now swarming into the last part of the map where these guys are. We really have a massive hit point and tank advantage. The key being the guns. There we go. We'll slap him, and we'll keep on trucking. Really, I should have kept going, but I was concerned about the JPZ. I didn't want him sitting right there if I came bowling around the corner. I'm a one-shot to a JPZ. We knocked that guy out. We're at 2400. And there's the VZ with both his shots in there. 2-shot autoloader. Oh, there we go. Found the JPZ. Looks like he wants to come around this way. I don't think he's looking at me. We'll side scrape a bit and we'll... Boom. Nice. Again, dispersion worked out. Another great example. You take a lot of shots like that in the game with these big guns and long reloads. If you don't get the damage, I don't get any here. If you don't get the damage, now you're on a much longer reload once again, or on a very long reload. It's going to take you forever to start doing damage again. So as you can see, dispersion worked, team worked. I was more careful about, let's make sure the JPZ dies. He will. I don't have anything to do with it. Everybody's pushing that poor guy. Just worked out. 3,000 damage, no assist, unfortunately. Only 490 bounce, so I bounced 1 shot. Crazy. But I didn't get shot at very much. It was just much more careful gameplay. This map sort of lends itself to that because of how dumb it is to really get super aggressive in the city early on. So those are the 2 examples of gameplay. Let's wrap this up. It's a heck of a recovery going on. Everybody's coming home. All right, fellas, that is it for the Panzer VII. Super heavy-ish. Lee, kind of. Minus, super heavy minus. Slightly below average super heavy. Does pretty well. People do well in it. I didn't do that great. I didn't hate the tank, though. I actually quite enjoyed the tank. It's a fun tank. A little bit goofy with the rear turret thing, so you got to watch out for that. I'll just beat the dead horse once more. Be careful about the turret ring thing going on, or the casemate, or whatever this piece is called that the turret is sitting on. When you side scrape out, that can be penned pretty easily. The gun, for me, was a little bit uneven, probably because I didn't tame it as much as I should have. Maybe an IA and a vert stab on that thing and a rammer might have been the way to go. So I think there's several viable and good options for your equipment on that tank. It felt like a tank that if you're a little bit more careful and considered, you're probably going to do a little bit better. And I was maybe not as careful and considered with it as I should have been. I was just thinking about the recovery that's going on. And as I was driving to pick up some stuff, I noticed all the sea fog hanging out halfway through the bay. So I'm wondering if there's a divert situation going on, because there's a lot of airplanes piling in at once. They all may be running home before the sea fog covers up the airfield. Anywho, there you go, 100 Battle Challenge. Have you guys played this? Do you like it? What do you think? Let me know. Have a great day, and we will see you.